I just had to double check a couple things, but I think we're good, and I think we're live to go. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? We looking good? We looking live? I think we are live. Sweet. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another stream. This is GVS, where I talk all things sports. Let's get into this one. So, let me set up what's kind of going on here. So the college playoff came out. A week ago, over a week ago. We've known what the matchups were for round one, from the Oregon JMU game all the way to Miami versus Texas A&M. We've known about week one. We've known who the top four teams are, who gets a bye. We've known just the bracket and the playoff as a whole. And wouldn't you know, I never actually gave an official prediction video. I never gave hey, this is who I think is going to win it all. This is who I think is going to go on a deep run, because A, I forgot, but B, we've just been doing it every week by week, and what took me a little while to get back into, where it's hold on, pause, let me give me a second, is so from the last reaction we did, this is back when not North Texas, who was it? This is still back when Notre Dame was in it, BYU, Texas, Vandy, you could have made, I still had their logos still set up in the bracket for, okay, something could happen here. Let's see some magic, because there was probably one or two more weeks. It was before rivalry week, or it was right after rivalry week. Say that 5 times fast. Going into, okay, I just double checked. I'm so glad I double checked. I'm glad my mic is not muted. I would have been super duper embarrassed if I looked down and my mic was muted this whole time, and I've been trying to give an intro and my mic's muted. I would have felt like a big dumb stupid head. But anyways, enough of me rambling. It's been a long time, and I never actually gave my thoughts and gave my opinions. I've already made a video on, if JMU and Tulane, if one of them's bound to get an upset because everybody's writing them off and nobody thinks that an underdog team can win this weekend, I've already made that video, and I've already said, okay, which team's probably going to get an upset. You can go look at it and go watch it later, but spoiler alert if you want me to spoil it. If you don't want me to spoil it, quick fast forward. But I picked Tulane, just because there's a lot of stuff going on with how, in my own personal opinion, I think to ride the whole season out with your head coach and then him leave for a better job, there's parts of me that think sharks, you know what I mean? Sharks are circling where, okay, nobody knows how Ole Miss is going to react tomorrow. Seriously, and I think this could be one of those things where, you know what? We're going to find out really quick, where was Ole Miss good because Ole Miss had great players, or was Ole Miss good because they had the sets in place with proper coaching and, staff, coordinators, defensive coaches, offensive coaches. You see what I mean? And we're going to find out if, Ole Miss is ready for it. I think they are. And again, I'll still sit by, they went 11-1. This is their best season ever in program history. They deserve to have the number one seed. This shouldn't be something that's up for debate, where it's no, I don't think you get to go to the college playoff. Sorry, I'm messing with that camera. What's up, people? We're gonna whoop. There we go. But I don't think it was something that was up for debate on if, their head coach left. We could find a way to be no, let's get them out of here. But believe me, if we were still in the 4-team era, oh yeah, Ole Miss ain't going. No. We already see who the top 4 are now, which they are hidden behind some of these. I set up some bubbles here, so it is already kind of pre-thought out and premeditated, but I just wanted to do this video kind of real quick, do a quick stream, talk about my thoughts and my reactions to how this college playoff could turn out, some teams that I think could have a decent shot at it, and some teams who could be really good. But yeah, let's, without any further ado, hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Hit that like button and let's get into it. Because first thing we got tonight, the big game, the big one. Yeah, let's start right here. Let's start on the Alabama versus Oklahoma game. Drum roll. Oh, wait. Oh. Okay, let's move this one down just a little bit. Let's move this one up just a little bit. Okay. Drum roll. Boom. I have Oklahoma winning tonight. I think when you look at Alabama, I think one thing that you can't ignore, and it you know what? It could be fake. It could be fake. It could be, a red herring where it's like, hey, a media leak of some kind. But something that I cannot ignore is if Ty Simpson's injured and not ready to go, I'm not confident in Alabama tonight. Really not. Let me do something real quick. La 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 la. Turn that down a little bit more. Sorry. Okay. All right. Let's continue. But that's the one thing I think that I'm taking away a lot out of this game is I'm nervous that because after the SEC championship game and we saw how they played at the SEC championship game, I think obviously they are going to bounce back and have a better game because the SEC championship game was very rough, to say the least. Georgia jumped on them early, and it's kind of funny that I predicted a blowout would happen because I did not think a blowout would happen, and then it ended up happening. Because I thought, dude, it's Bama, Georgia. I didn't expect a blowout because none of the games have actually been a blowout when they have played each other. The score does not indicate, when you go look at the history of some of the games that they have played, the score does not indicate how close that game was. I mean, whether you're looking at the 22 national championship game, the 23 SEC title, like these games are closer than they appear. But then this one, no, this game was a blowout. How many quarters did it take till Bama to cross the 50? Like that Georgia defense was smothering, and I think Georgia's defense is going to be a reason probably why they go on a little bit of a run. And Georgia's defense, along with Ohio State and Indiana's, not something to glance over and ignore when we're trying to predict who's going to win these games and who's going to go all the way. But with tonight's matchup being in Norman, Rona, Oklahoma, I mean, we can only say this for a couple certain teams because the 12 team is so young. Because this is only its second year. This is Oklahoma's first playoff game. And I think some other things too, if you want to look at it from this perspective, is it would favor Alabama and why Alabama would win. Oklahoma's never won a playoff game. Not with Baker, not with Kyler, not with Jalen. They are 0-3. Not with Baker twice. I forget. The Orange Bowl. They lost to the Orange Bowl, but who was on that Clemson team? That Clemson team was pretty stacked. That Clemson team that they lost to kept it neck and neck as close as they could against Bama, who eventually won the national championship that year. But, I mean, 0-4, could this be the night that, Oklahoma rights their wrongs and they end up getting a big win? Who knows? I am also going to favor the fact that this is a home game for Oklahoma, and I do think home field advantage is going to have a lot of implications in these playoffs. I really do. When you let's look at last year. But last year, last year's interesting to look at from this point of view and this aspect, just because, I mean, I'll be real. I did not think SMU was going to beat Penn State. I didn't. I think Penn State ended their season really good, even though they lost the Big Ten championship game. And I'm going to die on this hill. I thought Miami should have been in over SMU. I really think if Miami or Bama would have replaced that team, I think they're shaking it up and they're making a little bit of noise because of whoever was going to win out of whether it was Bama, Penn State, or Miami, Penn State, whoever was winning that game was playing Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. That's at least how I see it. Anyways, but I think home field advantage is going to have a big impact because home teams last year, they all went undefeated. It was all blowouts too. So when we're looking at this game going, oh, Oregon, JMU could probably keep it close. That's what Tennessee thought. and then Ohio State happened. That's what Indiana thought. And then the opening play of the inaugural 12-team playoff, Jeremiah Love takes it up the sideline 98 yards. So now I don't think this game is going to be a blowout, and I don't think this game is going to be a blowout. Like, I think these two games are both very close. We know about Oklahoma's kicking game, and this game could potentially come down to a field goal. So give it to the kicker of the year. Maybe he's the reason why they win it. Puts it through the uprights. We'll just see. But I think with what we have seen from Alabama, how they finished out the season, and Oklahoma didn't finish out the season that much more better. Like, oh, this is such a prettier win, because we're kind of like comparing. I hate to use the word mediocre. Like, there were some games like the LSU game. Oklahoma was struggling with LSU all game. It took till the fourth quarter to finally get a win, which is why I'm thinking this will be a 4-quarter game, not a blowout. But I want to see the John Mateer we saw in the Alabama game the first time they played. I want to see also the John Mateer that went to Tennessee and beat the Vols there. I want to see the John Mateer that beat Michigan. I don't want to see the John Mateer that struggled against Texas or LSU. So we will see how Oklahoma's offense does, but I think both defenses are going to be ready to go. I'm not going to sleep on Oklahoma's defense being able to shut down Ty Simpson. Not at all. Like, I think it's very plausible. The other thing that's very plausible, too, is them shutting down Ryan Williams. Because if the Tide want to win this game, Ryan Williams needs to get involved. He cannot be second best to Bernard. That's just how it is. He's got to turn it on. I think this year he's been very quiet, and that's not just me talking. There's a lot of narratives around that as well, but we'll just see. Something that can't be ignored too, from all the matchups and the rematches this season, that would favor Bama, because I mean, you look at when Georgia played Bama. We know who won the first time, who ended up winning the second time. Duke, Virginia. We know who won the first time, look who won the second time. So I'm kind of interested in that point of view, where these two teams have played each other. They know how to beat each other. Maybe Alabama can find those tweaks to get over the hump, beat the Sooners, and move on to the next round and go play in the Rose Bowl. But right now, with all this being said, because I've ranted and raved a little bit too long, but I kind of warned that I'd give a longer prediction and a longer thesis as to why these teams would win and whatnot. At the end of the day, I'm going to pick Oklahoma. I really have seen too much of Bama in their loss to Florida State, their loss to Georgia, and their loss to Oklahoma to be, okay, when we have a playoff game on the road, potentially an injured Ty Simpson. Don't know if, all those reports are 1,000% true. Struggling wide receiver core who can't get it going and can't have that explosive game. And Oklahoma's defense being able to be shut down, and probably one of the better Oklahoma defenses we've seen in recent history. Yeah, I'm gonna pick the Sooners. Okay, so with that being said, let's move on. Let's move on now to the next game. Nah, I'll keep them. Okay, here we go. Sorry for messing with that a little too much. Okay, drum roll. Here we go. For Oregon and JMU, drum roll. Brrr. No shock. Okay, wow. This comes as a surprise to just about everybody. You know what? No, not that, but I'm trying to think of a word. Call me a hater, call me based, call me whatever. Like, I'm trying to, because Nick Saban, I saw a video where Nick Saban was kind of hating on the Power 5 teams. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't, from the games that I've seen from Oregon where they've beat USC, it took a last-second drive to lose to Indiana. How if Michigan would have beat Ohio State or some other magic to happen, they would have been in the Big Ten championship game and had a rematch with Indiana. it's hard for me to see JMU come in here and beat them. And I get it's like, oh, it's a playoff, it's a night game, you never know. Well, that's a little bit of Pac-12 after dark magic. But this is, this is an Oregon team that beat Penn State in Happy Valley, which we all forgot about it and wrote it off. But at the time, look at where Penn State was ranked. Like, Penn State was a talented and really good team, even though their final record didn't determine that. But we saw what Oregon did on the road there. We saw also what Oregon did to, as well. We've seen what they did to Northwestern. We've seen what they did to USC. We saw the very last week where they beat Washington, which that could have been a close game too, because rivalry games, you never know. It could be closer than you expect. But no, they went into Washington and kind of slapped the Huskies around a little bit. So I'm not too convinced with JMU being able to have an upper hand on this one. And also from the point of view of who the Ducks have played this season, level of competition, win or loss, the Ducks have played better teams than JMU this year. I mean, and that comes, and not a lot of people like to talk about this, and some people, that's why they call you a hater or whatever when you're like, no. It should be Notre Dame, or it should be Texas or Vandy or BYU instead of JMU. They're literally, and I'm not looking at it because I saw people talk about it being a safety issue, which is I think is so stupid. It's just a talent thing. It's a recruiting talent. That's what the difference is 4-star and 5-star and 3-star players are playing at Oregon. How many 5-stars are on JMU's team? That's what I'm looking at. And that's the point I'm trying to get across is you could stack. Now, if you take Texas Tech's roster and turn their jerseys from red and black to purple and gold, then yeah, JMU's going to play a lot better. But players actively who were 4 or 5 stars decided to go to Oregon over JMU. And so that's how I look at it, is it's nothing to do with size or heart or willpower to, okay, let's get out there and go have a better win. It's, you look at position by position group. It's, it's a battle of stars and star talent. And maybe the evaluation process from high school wasn't the same. That's like, maybe we are overvaluing Oregon a little too much, and JMU gives them a run for their money. But I think with the fact of how it's a playoff game, not a lot of people, one team did this year, and their quarterback just so happened to win the Heisman. Only one team's been able to beat them this season in their house. That's why I'm leaning towards the Ducks, and I think we'll see. We'll see. There's parts of me that think if they want to keep the alignment the way that it is and the same, there's parts of me that think that this Tulane game or this JMU game have to be closer than they appear, because I surfing the internet, I can't tell you any, when I'm scrolling, I can't tell you one person who picked JMU. I can't. Same with Tulane. Like, everybody has predicted that Ole Miss is going to win by 50 million, and everybody's predicted that Oregon's going to win. And then, who knows? Bro, Tulane could win on a field goal tomorrow for all we know. I don't know. But here's the thing too, and this is just me. I think Tulane probably has a little bit of a better chance against Ole Miss than JMU does. But anyways, regardless, all that's being said, from the Oregon games I've watched, I don't think they're losing. I've watched way too many Oregon games this year to be like, you know what? Nope. Give me the 12 seed team. No. I've seen how well Dan Lanning's coached his team. I've seen how well Dante Moore's been. And then the running back room and their talent and their level of talent. Like, it's going to be a fun game. We'll see, though, if JMU can keep it close. But if this thing gets to a 3-4 touchdown game and it's 20-0 by the end of the first quarter or something, watch out. Here we go. All right, so let's do this one first. Okay, All right, no shocker here. Um, I'm very what's the word I'm looking for? Not hate football, not angry football. I'm I think Ole Miss has a lot to prove tomorrow, and the reason why I'm picking Hottie Toddy over the Green Wave is we have heard since Thanksgiving break and rivalry weekend that Ole Miss sucks, and that, well, if you guys paid more or had a better roster or this or that or that or this, Lane Kiffin would have stayed. Well, the truth is he didn't. He left, and everybody has their own opinion on it. And I personally think there's probably a lot of fifth-year seniors, fourth-year seniors, guys that transferred in that were promised something and then the promise wasn't fulfilled. I bet there's a lot of emotions running around, not only on campus but in that locker room, to go out and just beat the shit out of the next person they see. And it just so happens to be Tulane. And with that being said, I think that Ole Miss is going to play some angry football. And I think all the people that have predicted that, oh, Tulane's going to come in here, there's a lot of emotions and there's a lot of turmoil with, oh, what do? We don't have a head coach. No, we do have a head coach. His name's Coach Golden. And we're going to go in here and just like how we beat you earlier in the season on our own home field, we're going to double down. We're going to do the same damn thing and we're going to beat you by 30 plus. And that's kind of, I don't think it's going to be by 30 this time around, because I feel like, when you watch and you cover a team all year and you study film and like the season plays out how it does. The other thing is the Tulane versus Ole Miss game happened week 3 or week 4. Like it happened really early in the season. But I think so from the huge blowout that was the first time around, I think this one will be a little bit closer. And it will only be closer just because of kind of like how you look at when Georgia played Bama again, when Duke played Virginia, or when Oklahoma's going to play Bama here. We've already played these guys. We know how to play them. They know how to play us. And I think they'll keep it closer. So a 30-point blowout, no. But I think there's going to be a lot of angry football going on. And I think it will be chippy. I think all the games will be chippy, especially this one. Because this game is more reflective on Texas A&M has everything to lose in this game, considering that it's a home game. And with them losing to Texas, they lost out on a chance to go to the SEC championship game and play Georgia. Because I personally thought it should have been the Aggies and the Dogs, but it is what it is. But anyways, with all that being said, I've ranted a little bit on this segment of who I think out of Tulane and Ole Miss. And I think Chambliss is going to have a good game. I think Ratzlaff is going to have a good game. I think it will be an entertaining game, and I don't to say it's going to be a blowout and say it's going to be about as bad as the Oregon JMU game. No, I do think this one genuinely will be entertaining. But I think, yeah, like I said, I think Ole Miss, they've got a lot of haters to prove wrong, and they've got a lot of people to silence. And they, even with the news and the rumors of players on their own team leaving and hitting the portal and going and joining Kiffin, which, after the season's over, if they go do that, they hit the portal, go to LSU, whatever, so be it. But I think, like, right now, the best thing for them to do is go out and try to go get that 12th win and just keep fighting. Go meet up with Georgia. I think they play in the Peach Bowl when they play each other. I don't know. I can't remember for the life of me. Let me go look up something real quick. La, la, la. ESPN. Yeah, I don't remember. Oh, it is the Sugar Bowl. Okay. I was thinking the Peach Bowl. Because Georgia Peach. Okay, never mind. Anyways, continuing. So yeah, give me Ole Miss. This is how we have for the foreseeable future. Now, who gets to go play Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl? Drum roll. Hello? Drum roll, drum roll. Give me the Hurricanes. I have not seen as many Texas A&M games as I have Miami. I've watched and I've covered Miami a little bit longer this season and a little bit more than I have with the Aggies. The biggest Aggie games that I've seen was earlier in the year when they played Utah State. But the LSU game where there was a 20... Was it more than 21? It was the third quarter to fourth quarter momentum swing of like 4 possessions where Nussmeier ended up getting benched. I think there was a pick 6. Reed had a touchdown. Like, there was just an explosion of, okay, the LSU was leading at halftime. LSU is going to get an upset here, turn their season around. But then the Aggies just said, nah, we're good, dude. Now, I've made a prediction actually earlier, probably in one of the streams. I don't remember which one, but I talked about if these two teams met up, who'd win what if this thing came down to a final field goal. And I pulled out both kickers and I looked at both kickers' stats, and Miami did have a better kicker. And so I was like, there we go. That says all I need to know. So I think from like, not on paper, but visually what I have seen out of Texas A&M and Miami, I've seen both of them struggle. I mean, you saw what Miami did against Louisville. You saw what Miami did against, who was the second team they lost to? It was a bad game. It was the one where Beck had like 4 interceptions. Let me double check. SMU. Yep, that's the one. Where they lost in overtime because Beck was feeling generous and handing out turnovers left and right, and so they ended up losing that game. But I think parts of me think there's going to be a different Beck, and we've seen a different Beck since then. Miami has also a stout front seven, just like how Texas A&M does. I think both defenses are superb and really good. Like, there are a lot of talented defenses. Yes, and yes. Like, there are some really good defenses we're going to see in this first round. But there's parts of me that just think Beck has been in these positions before. And that's kind of the point that I'm going to try to lean on when I give this prediction is, yes, it's going to be a raucous and, hostile environment because it's Kyle Field, 100,000 people cheering against you. Carson Beck's been in that kind of environment before, and I think with just how good he has been when he's at the top of his game from the games that I've seen, whether it's Georgia or Miami, that's what I'm kind of leaning towards the Hurricanes. And then I think the other thing too is I think there's going to be a shakeup, and I really do think with the fact that everybody went undefeated at home and there was just home blowouts, and it was like, oh my gosh, there's parts of me that think that this year it's going to be a little closer, and what better way to have it be closer than two teams that are pretty evenly matched and another two teams. And so it's like, I don't think all these home teams are walking out of here with a win. So that's why I'd kind of lean towards, okay, Miami's going to get a win here, or maybe Tulane gets a field goal or something. Because to just chalk it all the way to the final where it's Indiana versus Ohio State. I don't think that. I don't think that. Now, a lot of people would be like, dude, what the hell are you talking about? Never talk about football again. Okay, maybe that's true too. But now, okay, let's get back to it. Sorry about that, a little delay. Okay, let's do. So yeah, give me Miami. Being Texas A&M. I think this would require, let's see Carson Beck at his best, where it comes down to the Aggies defense. They need to get a stop, and they can't. And I think the kind of game that Miami is going to play is they're going to try to play how Texas played the Aggies, where, you know what, you shut down Reed. Where's the offense going to go? Because that, and I kind of made this case a little bit earlier when we were talking about the Heisman, where Reed is a big reason to why the Aggies were very successful this season, where if you take him away, kind of the team, I mean, we saw what happened in the Texas game. They made him feel uncomfortable. He went down for a minute there. It looked like a scary injury with it was his ankle. It was his ankle or his knee. But like that can't be understated enough. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Where, yeah, if or in turn, if Texas A&M can make Beck, start to shake, it's over. It is over. We have seen the good games out of Beck, and we've seen the really bad games out of Beck. Where if Beck's starting to shake there in the second quarter, the game's over. Game's over. Give me the Aggies. But this time around, it's a tough one to pick. Because I will say this too. I will say this because let's move on ahead here. Because drum roll. Brrr. Oh my, damn it. I got to use the other one. Okay. Drum roll. Spoiler alert. Whoever the hell wins this game is winning this game. Yeah. Okay. Oh my gosh. There's a big shock here. Okay. I don't think Georgia's going to lose to Ole Miss. Because in the same breath of, okay, Ole Miss has something to prove against Tulane, whether they had their head coach that was with them all season or not, there's parts of me that think that if Georgia's defense, okay, because when you want to look at and compare quarterback to quarterback, I think Ty Simpson did have a little bit of a better season than Chambliss. Georgia's defense is going to get after Chambliss, and they're going to get after everybody, and I think they're going to stop Lacey as well. And you stop the run of Ole Miss, dude. It's wrapped up. The game could end 10-6. I mean, if Georgia stops your ability to run the ball, it's not going to be a close game. And considering how these two teams played each other earlier in the season, Georgia's just hit that stride where they've entered another gear, and there are parts now where I would look at this with Lane Kiffin leaving. This could have been the difference between them winning or losing, if I'm being honest. But we'll just have to see. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this one, like it. I'm trying to think of other reasons how Ole Miss could win this game, but like I really don't know, because I mean sometimes, and we've seen it out of Georgia. Yeah, sometimes the offense isn't doing that good, but their defense just keeps them in the game, and then Frazier could pop one out to the outside, or Lucky, or anybody like. Yeah. So this is who I have winning out of this one. Now, out of Ohio State and Miami, hold on. Out of Ohio State and Miami, I think this one's going to be an instant classic too. How do I explain? How do I explain what I'm going to explain here? I think with a lot of these games, I think the first quarterback to crack will be the reason probably why a team loses or wins, and this is for every single postseason game. I think I'll be really amazed if we can have Ohio State play Georgia and Julian Sain can continue his impressive run this season because he's had a Heisman nomination finalist and he went undefeated in the regular season, lost in the Big Ten championship game to Indiana. You can't ignore that. Like, that's stuff that not a lot of freshmen quarterbacks or sophomores or whatever, because, he redshirted Alabama. Okay, whatever. But I think parts of me think that if Miami's front seven can get after him, kind of like how Indiana did, who knows? Who knows what could happen? There's other parts of me that think, though, that like Caleb Downs and Simon Styles will just get after Beck, and Ohio State's defense is going to have another pick six or something and have some crucial stops, because we have seen that. This game is actually this game too, but this game and this game will probably be the games of the quarterfinals. Now, the reason why I ultimately picked Miami, though, is when we come to veteran experience at the quarterback position, there's parts of me that think I have to lean towards Beck over Julian Sain. And that's not to say that Sain sucks. Like, Sain could probably honestly outperform Carson Beck in this one, but Beck's been playing college football for a long time, and having this be his first... here's another thing. Having this be his first college playoff, chance, because he lost the SEC championship game back in 2023 and missed it all together, and he ended up playing depleted Florida State team where half their roster declared for the draft. That wasn't a postseason game. It really wasn't. But the fact that the next year at Georgia, he wins the SEC title game, gets injured, and then there's just a lot of, he hasn't had his opportunity yet in the postseason. And that's what I'm trying to say, where him coming off of a huge win here against the Aggies and building momentum again, because I'm going to be honest, teams that play, Oregon, Oklahoma, a little bit of Ole Miss and Miami, I'm not going to sleep on the reality of them playing one game before they meet here in the quarterfinals, because if you look at last season, all the teams that had a bye lost. So we could be looking at a Oregon versus Oklahoma, Ole Miss versus Miami or Texas A&M semifinal. Those could be the final four teams, because Oregon, they sat out a week. We thought they'd beat Ohio State. They didn't. Arizona State, they sat out for a week. Boise State. So with that being said, momentum of picking it back up, getting the season going, ending it on a win, Duke opening the door to get you into the playoff, beating Texas A&M in Texas A&M. A lot of that momentum, I think, is going to carry. And I'm rambling, which I'm sorry about that. And so I guess that's another reason why I think the Hurricanes could beat Ohio State. And I think too, Sain's a young quarterback, and I think young quarterbacks do make mistakes in big time games. And this game too could be a really low scoring game, kind of like how the Big Ten championship game was, where if Miami's defense can stop Ohio State's run game and keep Julian Sain in a box, it's not going to look too good for Ohio State. But in turn, I don't think Ohio State's defense is going to roll over either, because you look at the stats. Ohio State's been able to stop Michigan, Indiana, even though they lost, Indiana, Texas. Ohio State's defense has been pretty damn historic this whole season. So if Miami does end up winning, this will be another, maybe Miami only gets 2 touchdowns and a field goal. It will be one of those kind of games, because both defenses are pretty phenomenal. So, all right. Now, let's go up here to this semifinal. I do think Indiana is going to be Oklahoma. I think Indiana's the best team right now. They are the team to beat. Let me me check something here real quick. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, hello. What's up, chat? Okay. I'll look at that in a sec. Sorry. Out of Indiana and Oklahoma, I'm nervous. I'm nervous and I'm not confident saying that I think Mateer could beat Indiana's defense because not a lot of quarterbacks have been able to. Just comparing some of the defenses that the Hoosiers have gone against this season with quarterback play. Desmond Williams from Washington, Julian Sam from Ohio State, Dante Moore from Oregon, and look at this, WWW. And yeah, objectively speaking, I think Dante Moore is he's a little bit better than John Mateer, but again, we could be wrong where another number one seed goes down and they go down in the first round in the Rose Bowl. I think aesthetically that game is going to be very aesthetically pleasing, considering, dude, it's the granddaddy of them all, and teams they look damn good at the Rose Bowl. Now aesthetically, it's like, would Indiana look better in their all whites or with their red unis and have Oklahoma in the all whites? Either way, it's going to look good. It's going to look good because it's at the Rose Bowl. But I'm going to take Indiana to win this one. And then, drum roll. Yeah, give me the Ducks. I think the Ducks can beat Texas Tech. Do not get me wrong, I think Texas Tech is a very good team. I think Texas Tech had a Heisman finalist that probably should have been there in New York. I think Jacob Rodriguez is a really good player, and I think, let me double check. I don't know, is Bro, I don't know if Bro's a senior or, let's look at some things here. Well, actually, first off, we got a couple more minutes. Okay. Let's go to college football playoff bracket. Texas Tech. Where are you? Jacob Rodriguez. Oh, he is a senior. Okay. Well, because sometimes you can do your senior transfer. You can be a grad transfer and go play another year somewhere else. We have seen that in the past. Okay, here we go. But, okay, well, if he's not going to be there. Okay, fine. Okay, wait, let me close out of. Okay. Anyways, yeah, I think he's an animal, and I think he has the ability to turn games on their head. I mean, even with Texas Tech's two biggest games this season against the Cougars, the one against Arizona State, even though that was a loss, it's hard to try to compare like bigger games because there were some big games in the Big 12, but a lot of them, I hate to have conference bias because I'm trying not to, but yeah, even the Oregon versus USC game, even that game was a little bit bigger than a lot of the bigger Big 12 games. Because yes, Texas Tech versus ASU did have Big 12 implications, but when you look at like the college playoff picture, it didn't. Because I mean, Levitt ended up getting injured again and missing some times, and ASU lost a couple more games since then. Even if Texas Tech lost 2 games, they win or lose that one against the Sun Devils, they still would have ended up playing the Cougars because, like, that's just how it played out. Because the Cougars locked their spot in the Big 12 after they beat Utah. Because it's like, well, third best team here is Utah, and we beat them, and Utah lost to both Texas Tech and BYU, so it's like, okay, see you again in December. So, either way, long story short, because I've rambled too much, I think Rodriguez is a big player, and I think he's a big impact. Any NFL team that decides to go pick him up, because I know there's this weird bias against linebackers, I think he's going to be a dude. Now, when it comes to the game, there's still 10 other guys on the defensive side of the ball that need to stop how many weapons and how many offensive key players that the Ducks have, because they have a lot. You got to stop Sadiq. So there's one thing. I think the tight end is going to have a huge impact on this game. There's a running back by committee. So we'll just see if Texas Tech's front seven can stop the run. And if you can't do that, well, we have seen plenty of games where Dante Moore's been able to put the ball where it's not supposed to, and he can make those passes, because I think he's an exceptional quarterback. And so there's a part to me that's wondering, there might be a Rodriguez play where, Moore hits Sadiq over the middle and then Rodriguez punches it loose. That very well might happen. But there's also other plays where, what if Moore decides to do a bootleg, and then, oh, look at that, because Moore can run the ball as well too. So don't sleep on that. If you want to compare quarterbacks too, I'll lean towards Moore a little bit. I think Barry Morton's a good quarterback, but just from the games that I've seen, Texas Tech they have been tested, but I can't be like, you know what, Texas Tech has their own version of a Penn State game, or Texas Tech has their own version of, we've all forgotten it. We've already written it off. Iowa was playing Oregon very close in that game, and then there was a crucial, there were a couple field goals by Atticus there at the very end. I was talking about throwing it in tight windows. Moore made some good passes in that game, some crucial touchdowns. The road test of, okay, this game is supposed to be tough. We haven't seen it from Texas Tech. Maybe I haven't been watching close enough, but their biggest, the Utah game, very early, very, very early in the year. Their backup was in, and they tore up Rice Eccles. That game had all the makings of early season trap game. This is supposed to be a road test, and it wasn't. The Utes didn't. Once the ball got rolling and the Red Raiders ended up winning, it was not close. So, I think I'm kind of looking at it from the point of view of the team that I think has been more tested has been Oregon, which is why I'm going to pick Oregon, even though that prediction might bite me in the ass because Texas Tech ends up winning the whole damn thing against, who on the bottom could win it? Ohio State or Miami or Georgia? I don't know. Thanks for all the likes, guys. Thanks for all the likes. We've gotten a lot of likes on this stream, so hope you guys are enjoying the stream. All right, but let's continue. There's other parts of me too. The reason why I picked Oregon to beat Texas Tech is I want to see this rematch. I really do. I think, and if I'm being honest, I think Oregon would give Indiana a bigger fight than Texas Tech. I really do. Yeah. We'll see about Texas Tech. And again, I know that Texas Tech blew out BYU 2 times. What are some other big games they had on their season? This just shows. See, this shows how not little to no information that I know, but just the level. Here we go. Yeah, their 2 biggest games, BYU, both happened right here. But again, Kansas had a down year. Oklahoma State. Tell me when Oklahoma State won a game this season. Kansas State was supposed to. This could have been a huge game. This had the makings of being a huge game. And this could have been, hey, winner goes to the Big 12. But, Yeah, no, there were. Okay, again, not trying to sound biased when it's like, oh, the SEC is supreme, the Big Ten is supreme, but you look at these schedules. Houston, they won this one 35-11. And I don't remember off the top of my head to be like, bro, this game was closer than 35-11 indicated. But when I go over here and I look over here, Houston is a 9-win team. Okay. But again, 35-11, 42-17, 34-10, 26-22. They did have the ball at the very end of the game. 42-0, 43-20, 29-7. This game was not close. Not both of them weren't close. Not even gonna act like they weren't. But 48-9, 49-0. Parts of me think that the real test of like a football team to see how good a football team is after they are tested. And I know, I think it was Joe Klatt. Is either Joe Klatt or Gus Johnson, because they were talking about Ohio State, and they're like, sometimes, to prove you're the best team in the country, you are the best team because you're never actually tested, so you don't need to prove that you're a tested team. Which I get that, but at the same time, the second Ohio State got tested, they lost to Indiana in the Big Ten, and that's the only point that I'm trying to make here is your team, whether you're playing Pine Bluff week 1. Utah, week 4, whichever team you're playing, you need to have that moment where, oh shit, we're losing. You go look at, okay, who's Oregon, for example, because Texas Tech is playing Oregon. La la la. Okay, you look at all of Oregon's games here. Not a test. Northwestern was scrappy with them, gave them a test. This game went to frickin' overtime. Here's the test because they lost. They lost by 10. Okay. This game, 18-16, took a walk-off field goal to win. So see how I'm pointing out all the this game was close at halftime. This game was very close at halftime. But Oregon had kept teams closer and had a battle and a dance per se of let's go through the ebbs and flows of this game. And I think it benefited them versus looking at Ohio State's schedule. Jump on over. Oh, I could have gone the other way. Hold on, watch this. Oh, damn it, I went the wrong way. Hold on. Versus Ohio State when, okay, it's a test, but not really. Ohio State, both defenses put the quarterbacks in a box, but not a real test. No. This game wasn't close. No tests all season. And the schedule people and the people who want to homer on the schedules of how blah, 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 cupcake schedule. Yeah, okay, I can see the point of view you're coming from though. Here's the thing: this is a road game. Like these are big games. Do not get me wrong; they're big games because Washington at one point had the most successful home record because it was a place where you usually don't go and win here, like a Happy Valley or the Shoe. But so you look and you see, yeah, it's 7-3 at halftime, but then to outscore them 17 points in the second half and how many turnovers they ended up getting on Williams there towards the end of the game, like it turned into something where, okay, this is a test, and it's a big game to our credibility, a lot of it, because it is a big game, but it wasn't like how this was, where, yeah, you had the lead at halftime, and then there was no touchdowns in the fourth quarter. Like, that fourth quarter was something out of a movie because it was that freaking good. Both teams had turnover. Like, it was a good game. But Ohio State, they meet someone who can, play to their level, make their match, and then, uh-oh, something else has to falter or something. So, let's close out this. Wait a minute. So if I have, hold on, can I go here and then, whoop, yes, I can. Okay. All right. Y'all still watching? Thanks for watching, guys. I know I'm rambling. Wait, it's like, hey, buddy, speed this shit up. Here we go. Now, I think it's a fun, I want to see Carson Beck go against the Dogs and beat them. So what? Okay, I think that'd be a pretty cool little revenge story on if Beck can go and beat the Dogs. But you know what? I don't think that's gonna happen. Rug pull. No, I think this game, if this is how it plays out, oh gosh, I don't know, because considering, I'll be honest, I don't know. I have a national champion. I have a national championship who I would crown as the national champ. I don't know if I can be like, yeah, Indiana's winning it, because I think everybody thinks Indiana's going to win it, and everybody probably felt the same way about Oregon last year. I will admit I did too, where, okay, it's probably going to be Oregon, Georgia, or Oregon, Notre Dame in the national championship game, and then it ended up not being that, which I want to look back on my national championship prediction last year, and I want to go look, because I want to see how wrong I was, because I guarantee you the Ohio State win in the Rose Bowl probably derailed the rest of my college playoff bracket last season. But with a rematch, here's the thing. I can see, because here's where I'm torn. I don't see, because this is probably exactly how I felt last season with Oregon being the 1 seed. I can't see Indiana sitting at home with how successful they were this season, just get knocked out in the first round by Oklahoma. I don't see that happening. And then there's also parts of me where, okay, all right, they run into Oregon here. I don't. It's not that. It's kind of like okay, you beat Oklahoma, and Oregon, you got your good win, but Oregon, I don't see you getting to the national championship game, especially if you got to play. Now it would be the perfect revenge game and a get back where, okay, we end up having Oregon versus Miami in the national championship game. That'd be pretty sick, because if anybody, maybe I'm wrong on my prediction. Now that I'm thinking about it, but I'm pretty convinced that with how well Indiana has been playing football all season, if they can get 2 wins in a row, it's going to be a lot for Georgia to handle. Now, with this being said, I think when we get into these later rounds, something that's really important that can't be overlooked is just the experience of the team that has been there. And I think, Kirby Smart against Kirk Cignetti. I'd have to lean towards Kirby Smart, even though Mendoza is the better quarterback. And if there was any year for Indiana to win it, and if there was any year for the Hoosiers to go all the way, it would be this year, because look at how successful they've been all year. It's the first successful season in 60 years. Isn't like this there, because they've had co-wins on a conference title, but isn't this like the first outright conference? You know what? Instead of rambling, let's go look it up. Instead of me sounding like a doof. Indiana banners. Okay, here we go. Nope, not basketball. Football. Because we know they're a powerhouse in basketball. Well, no, not much anymore. Basketball. You know what, let's go to the old Wikipedia. Football. Because it was their first outright, their first conference title since six set. No. Because they hadn't, yes. I remember, because they did the two team split, like a tie. They had one of those long time ago. It's not like it happened yesterday. But they had one of those more recent, but like an outright title, first Heisman winner. Yeah, that to me, it's like, okay, yeah, Indiana, if you're gonna win it, hey baby, now or never, because we know the Raiders are gonna be on the phone, the Jets, not the Giants. The people who are saying that the Giants should draft Fernando Mendoza should never make another sports prediction. But we know, I wouldn't say Arizona as well, because Arizona is probably going to be in the market for a quarterback, but they're not going to be the top pick. But what I'm trying to say is, yeah, Vegas, the Jets, these teams are going to be calling for a quarterback, and Mendoza does have one more season. But after you win the Heisman and potentially win the national championship against Georgia, wouldn't you want to go to the NFL and declare for the NFL draft? So, but all this to being said, I think there's a lot of hype behind Indiana, which is why I'm kind of like, because whether the sports, basketball, March Madness, hockey, baseball, there's a lot of hype around a lot of teams. And it's like they lose somewhere, and so I think at worst they get to the semifinals. I would pencil them in to get to the national championship. Have they ever gotten to the national championship? Probably not. So that would make for, okay, then it ends up being Oregon right here in this position. But I really do think that the winner of this team goes and plays Georgia here. But then the winner of this matchup here probably wins the national championship game. For real. Because I don't know. There's a lot of high expectations on Indiana, and I don't want to follow that trend of it like, woo, they're gonna, because a lot of people were, and again, it's a totally different team compared to when Notre Dame played them last year. But again, what if we get the yips here against Oregon, and it ends up being Oregon in the national championship, but then Oregon against Georgia, I'm going to take the dogs too. It's like I'm trying to convince myself that Indiana wins the national championship, but I've never seen, from recent memory of watching, college football, I've never seen the best team win the national championship. From last year, where it was the Ducks. The Ducks were the best team going into the playoff. The year before that, I think Washington was pretty damn good, but it ended up being Michigan. Then the year before that, who was it was Georgia, but like Georgia was just so damn good. So it's like, who's going to beat Georgia in those back-to-back years? Stupidly enough, I predicted Bama one of those years, but yeah, I think we're going to have some fun college football moments here. But this is my prediction, guys. This is who I got winning, and this is how I see it playing out. Yeah, we're gonna. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. See, this is why I'm torn. Because what if we have a get back here where Beck gets revenge on the Dogs, and then it ends up being Miami against Oregon. If it was Miami against IU, now, okay, there's one thing. Okay. No, okay. Let's say Miami beats Georgia. Or let's see if Ole Miss, because again, well, see, now I'm talking myself out of it. This isn't what I wanted. now I'm like, no, this can't happen. I think Indiana is the team to beat, but then the team right under them is Georgia. I really do. I think there's a lot of star power on both squads. If Miami beats Georgia, yeah, I think they're going to beat Indiana. But then it would make also for the perfect. Okay, whoever beats Georgia, like it leaves the door. And same with IU. If IU and Georgia lose here in the quarterfinals, I think it's up for grabs for anybody, truthfully. Also, don't sleeping too much on Texas Tech. See, this is crap. See, sometimes this is why see, now I'm talking myself out of it. But you know what? Let's leave it with this. I'm gonna leave it with this. I'm gonna trust that this might be a good pick. I could be wrong. But we'll leave it with that, guys. We'll end the stream here. So people who are on the shorts end, we will see you guys in another one. Let's look at the poll. I asked who's going to win it all. We got 4 votes, and we are 2 votes voting for Texas Tech. So y'all think the Red Raiders are going to win it? All right. Okay, so we're going to end the stream there on the shorts end. We're going to do a quick out. We'll see you guys later. All right.